Hi everyone, I'm Tom, your local government consultant here at Plan Resources. Today I'm going to be talking you through some tips and tricks on body language when you're in an interview. I'm not a professional on body language, this is just my own observations. We'll start from your presentation, so that's what you're wearing. When you're going into the interview, you want to be presenting as best as you possibly can, so preferably go more formal than informal, depending on what their dress code is and what they've stipulated. You're also going to start the interview usually with a handshake. It's probably the only point in the interview that you will have any physical contact. So it's very important that the handshake is firm, it's direct. Try not to have a sweaty palm, so wipe it on your pants beforehand. We don't want a wet fish scenario, which is like this. It will put your interviewer at ease, and it will also make you feel like you've started off the interview well. When you're doing the handshake, also make sure that you do make eye contact with them. You don't need to stare them down, but try and have that moment because it shows that you're confident in who you are and what you're presenting as well. Starting from the eyes downwards, during the interview, you want to be maintaining eye contact with the interviewer. You don't want to be staring them down again, and if there are multiple interviewers, you don't want to be making too much eye contact, but it is important because it shows that you're engaged and that you're seeking out what they're looking for as well, because you'll be able to pick up clues on how they're feeling while you're looking at them. If you're unsure of what to do, best not to look down, but instead focus on a spot maybe closer to the ceiling and look up at that and then make eye contact again so that you're not just focused on them the whole time. You can also choose to smile if you want, but you might not be that sort of person and you do want to present your authentic self in the interview. So only smile if you feel comfortable to do so, but remember that it's a useful tool to have in your arsenal because it will put your interviewer at ease as well. An important point is that you're usually going to be sitting down at a desk or similar. If not, which would be a rarity, do be aware of the space between yourself and an interviewer. You don't want to be too close, but then again, you don't want to be too far away. Even in the interview setting, if there's a desk between you, be very aware of what they're doing. If they are leaning forward, if you are leaning back, the best thing to do is probably have your hands on the table where they can see them and sit relatively straight, because you don't want to be leaning back because that's indicating that you're putting some distance between them and yourself. With your arms, try to avoid crossing them in the interview. It's sort of like giving yourself a hug, and we tend to do this in situations where we're actually a bit nervous. Mostly in social settings, you'll find that you don't do this sort of behaviour very much in the home. So try not to do that because it comes across as closing yourself off. Try to keep your hands open and either in front of you like this, or you might be using them to talk with, such as I do. With your legs as well and your feet, they're probably not going to see them because they are under a table, but do keep your whole body faced towards your interviewers because it shows that you're paying them attention. And it's very important to be listening to them as well, because you really want to make sure you're answering their questions. And if your body language is showing that you are interested and you're engaged and you're directed towards them, they're going to think, oh yes, you are paying attention, which is going to be very important. If you want to get very technical about it, you want to try and avoid crossing your legs too much because that creates a barrier pointing away from them. But this can also be used in very small situations, because if you're crossing your legs, it actually can sort of direct your attention to that person. If someone's sitting here, I'm closing myself off to them and showing them actually very engaged in their conversation. The traditional mode of thinking, as I'm aware, is that if you keep your feet pointed forwards to something, that means you're engaged in it. So you can be aware of those sort of things as well. But again, I wouldn't overthink it. We're all very programmed to use our body language because we use it every day. Just be aware that what you're trying to communicate is a sense of being engaged, being open, and you don't want any sort of behavior that, like such as crossing arms, accidentally indicates you might not be interested.